call the meeting to order. Can I have a mover and a second to open the meeting? Councillor Laframboise, Councillor Potier.
Moved by Councillor Laframboise and seconded by Councillor Potier, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Municipality of St. Charles hereby opens the Committee of the Whole at 6 p.m. on October 1, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried. All of council is present today. We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe. We also wish to recognize our neighboring community of Dokis First Nation. While we meet today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous people and their culture. Can I have a mover and a seconder to accept the agenda? Councillor Loftus and Councillor Lachance.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Lachance, be it resolved that the agenda for the Committee of the Whole held October 1, 2025 be adopted as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest, Councillor Framboise.
None, your worship.
Councillor Loftus.
None, your worship.
Councillor Potier.
None, your worship.
Councillor Lachance.
None, your worship.
And none for myself. Any announcements by council? Oh.
There's one from the public.
Okay.
I did receive an email from a member of the public, Gina Kennedy, regarding item 3.1.2. I would ask that you forward this on to council and to the planning committee. Regarding 3.1.2, this is a great initiative and I am glad to see efforts being made to enhance the quality of our community spaces. That said, the analysis and background as presented is not sufficient for a funding request in our constrained financial environment. More detail is required, particularly the specific location of the pavilion and the name of the grant being relied upon. If I am reading the table correctly, the brief currently assumes $40,235 in external funding without identifying the source, which would leave the town responsible for $15,799 plus $5,292 if alternative funding cannot be secured. This liability is not clearly outlined in the resolution, which currently reads, quote, that council review the quotes received and approve the purchase of the Kawartha Pavilion Kit Gazebo as provided by Wolf Lake Timber Works, end quote. What is a gazebo if it cannot be put up? I would ask that a revised brief provide clarity on location, funding sources, and liabilities, and that the motion be amended to so approval is contingent on confirmed location and funding rather than committing the town to an automatic purchase of a single item in a table of many required items. Additionally, your financial table lists as its first line tables, bracket AODA. I would not be a good advocate if I didn't stress that the pathways and access all need to meet or exceed AODA standards. I would suggest using the term accessible tables as more appropriate. This should be reflected in the brief and clearly outlined in the plans, together with confirmation of alignment with applicable accessibility standards, bracket, which are not referenced or attached, close bracket, as required under the Ontario Building Code and zoning bylaws.
Thank you very much. Any announcements by council?
None.
Councilor Loftus?
No.
Okay, I just have one, and it's that the Sawmill Bay Park has been basically completed. We're waiting to, I put the the opening date, but they've finished the blasting and putting in all of the roadway up to the lakeway. So something to look forward to. All right, next item. And this is something that, not for public because there's some people on it there, but that's the sign that was created for the Sawmill Bay Park.
Good job.
Anyhow. All right, so item 3.1.1, report to council regarding Treasury Department. Denis Turcot.
Yes, your worship. Just add it, and then like my screen, and then.
Mhm. Got a bit of time tonight.
No, we don't want to stretch it out. So yes, like I mentioned, the council, there was not, due to time constraints, there was limited availability for reports, but this one was one, I think, one of the compelling ones, why, I guess the interest of council's meeting to discuss it. So as council is aware, we have a staff that is off. We have a potential return date, but as stated there, budgeted is not a confirmed return date. So at this point, we will just take that date as waiting for an update at that date. Because the last one, it basically, we understood it to be now just updating us on the condition. But it seems that in the worst case, and again, this can all change, we should be back to normal sometime in mid-January 2026, maybe before. But to prepare and to understand what we have to go through in the next little while, because the Treasury Department does have some key roles, especially certain times of the year, there's key activities that goes on. So I'll just bring up with the council what is, okay. So I'm looking at two possible for providing relief in terms of having all of the activities completed in the Treasury Department without falling behind. The first one, I did reach out to KPMG. As everyone knows, because of the tenure of the 2024 audit, it was delayed, and then we were pushed back to the end of the year to complete the audit for 2024. We are still pending that. So I reached out to Tiffany, the principal, and what we will do, as I did discuss with the treasurer, that most of the reports are completed for that the auditors need. So they will be sending us a list, and between Joanne and myself, we will be transmitting the information to KPMG so that they hopefully can complete a full audit. If there's no hiccups, there would be no issue. Because if there's hiccups, then the person with potentially the answers is not here. So we will start. Hopefully they'll be able to complete the 2024 audit. While I was talking with her, I was explaining her situation. In the past, we have used KPMG and their accounting staff in the background to come and help us. The past didn't work out really well because we used a very specific municipal software that I would say not normal. It is not a popular, other than municipalities, the software we were using before was not popular. So now we're using QuickBooks. It is a very common, it's very easy. It's point-and-click software. And so I did ask this last week, she was reaching out to their accounting department, finding out their availability. I still don't have a costing as of today for that one. And the other one is their retired treasurer, held a treasurer position in the municipality, and I'm asking out what their costing, how much they would charge. I'm waiting for a quote from them, and whether it's full-time, part-time, this is what I hope to bring back to council, is depending on, do we just limp along until the treasurer comes back, and then there'll be a period of catch-up, and then we will do the budget sometime in late winter. Sorry for those, hopefully I was speaking loud enough. The cable was hitting, my mic was off, so sorry for at home there. So, key what's going on right now, the bills are being paid. look at the mayor, because he said, I need this piece of paper too, went and got it. So the bills are being paid, the payroll is going through. That I don't worry about. What is not currently, it's a lack of time. The bank rec, which is probably the next most important one, because at the end of the month, you wanna make sure we paid all the bills, we didn't pay them twice, and we didn't forget something. So I am monitoring the treasurer's email. It is a lot of emails to go through, but right now, if you send an email to the treasurer, it's bounced automatically to Joanne, and I view it. So there's two people, like, in case I see something and I miss something, because it's all regarding treasury. The budget is probably the next one. I did talk with the treasurer about it. The Excel sheets are ready to go out to department heads. So Joanne, or we can just print out the sheets, give them to department heads, and they can start their process. Compiling them is where I would caution, if you don't have somebody there that doesn't know the past, or doesn't know the future, or what was planned, bringing in somebody from KPMG or separate treasurer, maybe they can do the work. Like I can do the work, but I'm gonna run out of time. Somebody doing that may not know other factors being, trying to think of something, planned purchases, or like the debenture that we'll eventually have to take for the road, because we'll have to start finding money quickly for the road. That process, we'll have to start looking at debentures and that process. For me to look at financing, and we have money in the bank, but how soon do we need to go? That's where the treasurer comes in. They spend time, and then they like need cash in December. Otherwise, in January, we're in the line of credit or stuff like that. So, without having the numbers for costing and going through the list, and there's something I thought, and that didn't even clean here, we also have to claim our HST at every month. So I did all the remittances last month, but apparently I forgot to file one file with our pension plan, so I got a notice that I gave the money, just didn't file the form, so I'll be doing that shortly. But it'd be nice to have that support where it's sending CRD what they're due and not paying fines. Knock on wood, I think we're good, but it's a lot if you're stuff like that. So, sure, I didn't put options here because honestly I don't know the cost. A consultant, I've seen from $100 an hour to $500 an hour. It could be more, I doubt it'd be less. KPMG, I think, would probably be our best bet, but they won't be municipally centric, because what they do is they provide bookkeeping services for businesses. Usually municipalities will have their own treasurer and bookkeeping, but small businesses will hire the likes of KPMG, and they will once a month go in and do their books. And they don't have to have an accountant, because some businesses don't. Bank reconciliation is straightforward. So that being said, we're keeping afloat. Some items are pushed back, and unfortunately, like you saw this meeting, is maybe missing one or two reports, or as I will speak with the park, is yes, I could have added more in, reference the old reports, but unfortunately, we have what we have. Was there anything else here that I put? Okay. And again, unfortunately, I was hoping even by this meeting I would have some costing, but I do not.
Okay. So basically, from what I've gathered, is that you're working on it, and one of the reasons you hesitated to put it on is that you didn't have all of the costing, so it's hard to, therefore, to make a decision whether we wanna go with KPMG or an old, retired treasurer. But it's the, bank reconciliations that could be, we could get somebody to come in and help with. And,
yeah.
like, I'm just trying to, the list of what, because you did say if somebody doesn't have the history of the municipality, they have limited value, I don't know if value's the right word, but limited, abilities to work the finances, but what are the ones, the few things that you think we could get somebody in that could really help out?
So, I'm speaking from experience, so we've been between treasurers a few times. We did, before bringing in somebody from KPMG, did do the bank recs. Unfortunately, at that time, we had iCity, the software, I'm good with software.
Yeah,
I could make heads or tails, because it was meant for department to approve and then send for another department to approve that department and then to send to the director to approve.
yeah, I
Anyways,
remember that when it was,
there was a mess that was created by people.
yeah,
The KPMG auditor, the bookkeeper came in, didn't know what to do, they put blocks of stuff in a holding account. It was not wrong, but it was still not solved, so that was probably one of the issues that when Pam got here, she went through, what's this holding account, or I can't remember what they call it, so she went through it and found it. It's stuff like that. The important part is because it's the control of money, and at the end of the month, you wanna make sure that bills are paid, and remittances are made to avoid fees. And having somebody dedicated doing that, whether it's one day a week, because it technically doesn't have to be full-time. It could just be the stopgap of an external person keeping the books, but yeah.
okay,
At this point, a bank rec, the treasurer told me she takes about half a day. So for, let's say, 6 months catching up, would take 3 days, potentially.
Yeah.
At certain, I would say our current treasurer, 3 days. Maybe somebody else, it's 3 weeks. It's, you know what I mean? It's,
yeah, depending on level.
because if you're fully aware, oh yeah, that's the grant, or this is the expense, where somebody comes, where's this money from?
Yeah, okay. Any questions?
I'm not sure how much we can talk about this situation.
Other
In
than,
open.
it's just that the dates of return are
So,
tentative, and
So it's
you
been
said
about 2 months
January.
now.
so,
eh?
yeah, medical note is until the next medical appointment, which is November 17th. And the note, which I didn't share with council, but it's one paragraph, due to illness and not able to work. It's a straightforward one. Whether we get ready to maybe consider ease her back to work, or maybe get her to come to do maybe once a week remote login to do the bank rec. We could, I know we talked about maybe revisiting a work from home policy for certain circumstances. That is one possibility that if council wishes, I could see how I can modify the current one to add a paragraph with very specific clauses in certain circumstances where it would be allowed.
But right now, November 6th, that's a given.
I can't change that, that's
No.
note received, and it's,
So right now you're saying it's the assistant and yourself that is taking care
yes.
of pretty much everything. I just don't see, and I know that is not like you have a full-time position, so this is not okay to put that on his plate. It's been, what, a month and a half, at least?
Yeah, I read about it.
Closely, and to bring in someone else that doesn't know the history, I have an issue with that too. Like, I'm just wondering, like, how much ability does the assistant have? Like, she probably knows a lot. How much does she have?
So currently, it also do with signing authority. So in a perfect world, somebody enters all the information, which the assistant does. She does A to Z. everything is like, I sent all the invoices to her, she enters everything, she puts it on my desk. I check as best as I could, and then the mayor, well, and or yourself, double, and then we do the bank payment. So the, because I'm the secondary for signing authority for checks, you can't have the same person
same
creating
person.
the invoice. It's not a secure way. That amount of work is not significant, other than getting the password to log into the bank account was probably the longest process, because I can't just say, I want a password for the municipal bank account, and the bylaw was already passed by council where I was secondary, so there was no question. I would advise against getting the same person creating the invoices to click the button. Even the auditor
Yeah.
will say, that's a weak point tomorrow morning. And I don't want to say anything, anyone in any general business, if you put in somebody in charge of the, one person in charge, then you'll start getting invoices, what's this invoice? And so, that part is not much. So what we're doing right now is, instead of Joanne preparing and sending to the treasurer, it's prepared, sent to me.
To you.
That's why I say, if I were to do the bank rec, that is completely treasurer. And that can potentially be done by anyone, because it's easy, you print it off,
Numbers, yeah.
and then you can validate the page without actually going through the process of click. I don't know if they click the checks anymore, like when I was doing it 15 years ago, it was manual click, 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 click. Now I know it's a lot of automated, where they pick up, they match up, and then it's back. And as for the CRA, again, it's logging into the bank, because everything is digital now. So again, the big process there was passwords, because it's not that I didn't have the passwords, is that they apparently expire after a year if you don't use them.
Yep, that happened to me.
So the last one was today, so we have to pay, an example, we have to pay the schools, and it's because the school board wants an update, and we're sitting there, it's like, oh yeah, it's due yesterday,
Yeah.
so we're paying tomorrow.
I'm coming in
Yeah.
tomorrow, is what you're saying?
Tomorrow or Friday, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not sure to what extent it would be best to hire someone from KP, like, that they don't know the history, they don't know anything, like,
And it,
but we do need someone, because this is like, we shouldn't have went this far without, and I'm not willing to wait till November, because obviously, we need someone
Okay,
yesterday.
so that, we're waiting now for numbers to decide
yeah,
which.
so I have two, like one's a retired treasurer, I would have no doubt, no issues with the capacity. And again, if you're working for auditing firm, forget knowledge, you know that the person has been vetted by the auditor, so it's not like they're sending somebody that graduated from Google School of accounting.
Okay. Councillor Loftus?
Yeah, so with KPMG, like the audit, that's fine, get them started on the audit. As far as the budget, get the process going for the budget, give all the departments. And I really think that if we can find a past treasurer, hopefully it's the one I'm thinking about, but hopefully if it's a past treasurer, to fill in part-time to ensure that everything continues to run smoothly, because I've seen us in a bad situation and I've seen us in a really good situation, which I think we are in now, and I'd like to continue that.
Okay. Councillor Petsy?
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with, you know, pretty much, you know, most of what's been going on, but it's just, do we look at, you know, the possibility, I think we need to come back with the options, cause either we hire, somebody on, you know, as a contract, I guess is essentially what the role would be. I'm just, so in that regard, we'd still have to pass a resolution though, like, for the employee at that point, cause he'd be under contract. other than that, there's also, I think we should bring to the table, like, there's KPMG, but there's other, like, there's I was looking for some MNP LLP in Sudbury. They're local as well, so at least, they'd be one that could potentially be an option for, they're like professional accounting services and stuff like that. Cause I just say, it's not for full-time, 5 days a week, if it's just, you know, 1 day a week, just to keep us, cause, you know, as I say, some of the debentures and stuff that are coming up, that needs to get taken care of before it spirals. So I think that's, before we get too far in, too deep, we're, you know, we're a month and a half in. I think, yeah, we need to start looking at, options for, you know, keeping everything afloat without having to, you know, take away from your other duties and everything, right? So it really, yeah, and it's the best way forward.
Okay, Councilor Chance?
Yeah, I agree that we gotta try to stay ahead of the curve here, because we were in decent shape, so, if it's temporary, like a retiree, or even if it was in the form of, like an assistant to yourself, or something that can free up time somewhere else so that we can focus on this. And I think that's to hire someone, so.
Okay, so, yes,
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, I didn't want to interrupt, sorry.
No.
Just letting council know, once, whether we decide, wherever direction, I would recommend that a secondary signature for auditing, for check signing be authorized. I would consider the clerk, as she's already a signature for contracts, so to add her in lieu of the absence of the treasurer as a secondary. So if I'm absent and we need to sign a check, that the treasurer had temporary access. Depending if we hire somebody that is
Yeah,
a past treasurer, we can also consider that person, but I would prefer that it be a permanent employee to have keys to the bank. And secondary, even though in the contract I am deputy treasurer, I have to read up, you may have to temporarily put me as acting, or the person coming in as acting. There's very few items that require a treasurer-only signature, because it's only if it's in the act, it says the treasurer shall, well, then it has to be not the person acting as the treasurer, not the person being deputy treasurer, it has to be an acting treasurer or director, but those are very few limited. One of them, it would be signing off on the audit. So once we get there, I will bring it up, and
Yeah.
whomever you feel comfortable with signing off, because you're signing off on the books. I'd rather have the treasurer do it, because she is, 2024 was her year.
Yeah.
She will know that, but if ever the audit is complete, it may not be complete until we get the treasurer's signature. So that's another possibility to consider, whether you want actually give, hand over the title. And I'll take a look at, because I know I'm in the absence of, the deputy, I'm acting, but I gotta make sure that I'm an acting treasurer, not just a,
Deputy.
doing the duties of,
yeah,
which is a deputy.
okay,
So, and just, food for thought for council.
okay. Mike, so we're gonna be waiting now for reports for when you get the
And I
numbers?
will be sharing the cost as soon as I can.
Okay, and then we're gonna have another meeting?
Yes, and,
Okay.
and I'll have potentially a plan, that's what I'm proposing, like if it's, say, twice a week, we
Okay,
do this, and then we continue doing the payroll on the side, and I don't know the cost, because they come back at $600 an hour, I want to say, maybe once a month, I'm kidding about that, but
Yeah.
if it's worthwhile, it's worthwhile.
okay. Thank you very much. Next item 3.1.2, report to council, approval of a gazebo purchase, prepared by Denis.
Yes, and again, from the comments from the public, it's justified. Again, we've all been through the application that we went through the ministry. And obviously, I didn't reference the past money that came from this Ministry of Senior Services. It's a provincial grant. I should, but I'm just assuming everybody knows we got money for gazebo, but not everyone reading the report straight out.
Yeah.
And again, so that grant has to be spent out by November 30th. And I did come to council before, there were some suggested, provided that we can go through, like finding savings on cost. The thing that because of, again, this is another effect of work being piled on, is in both myself and the director of operations, like we tried different sources to get an official plan so we can go source that material. But we just both ran out of time. Both, as you can notice, they're being busy at Public Works, and I've been somewhat occupied the rest. So this Wolf Lake timber was a recommendation. The CBO has worked with other people that bought that in this area. So he said they provide very good quality gazebos, and I reached out to them. And the other one, the tent structure, which too bad it's not a proper picture here, that is 4 metal posts with a fabric top on it. The 4 posts with a fabric top, I think I talked before with council, they said it's was not preferred. It falls into the budget, as it may or may not. The gazebo, which there's a picture there of, is well above the budget. So if we go to the budget, and again, I'll apologize because it was originally sent out in an email, and so this, myself and the director of operations, we looked at costing from the original grant, and the costing of the asphalt or concrete pad for the gazebo. So she approached a few local contractors, and this is what you expect to pay. Obviously, it's not an official quote, because at this point, the grant 40,000 is what we have in the budget, is $40,000. It's slightly over there, and so there you can see from the net cost from what there's commitment, and we can again reduce some purchases from the grant, but the grant is at 40,000, so it's maxed out. So I'm maxing out the grant. The tables, the garbage bins, the benches, right on the above. It's 500, but I do suspect it's going to be slightly higher than that. But there's contingencies. Because before I wrote this and I got an answer, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself, I'll continue. So the gazebo as quoted is $21,242. The concrete pad, well again here was a contractor gave a best price scenario. I do believe we can do it for less. With asking known contractors, known laborers, hopefully getting some donation or in-kind provided work. Barring that, this is what we could expect for that base to be. The roofing material, the gazebo does not include the roofing material, the wood decking, and then you either have to put shingles on top or tin. This would be another opportunity to look at maybe our local store here for either a cost of material, provided at cost, sorry, or others, and then we could, the path 5 feet wide, as mentioned by the comment, an acceptable path for accessibility is 48 inches. Anything over and above that is you're going above the minimum requirements of AODA. It would be preferable at 6 feet, just because if you meet a person in a walker and just a person walking, you won't have sufficient room where somebody's not going off onto the gravel. We are paving roads next year, so we are hoping to get we use the base costing of the paving we got. And also, the gravel also was based on the gravel, the concrete, should I say. And trees and trees, lighting, sub-trays, so we have money for that. I have $3,000, only $1,500. That is another mitigation because we can skip on the trees and the lighting and just get the drainage pipe in. So the grant, this is what I'm proposing for the grant, and as correctly said, we are short funding of sort of on the order of, I would say, 15 to 20,000, to be fair. In discussion with Caisse Populaire, they've already committed 5,000 towards the fence. He wanted a 2026 project to consider for donation. That donation could be another 5,000, or it can be 20. Let's wait for their comeback. The path, I did ask, I'm asking this because I put it in, because I wanted 20. The path, we already have money from another grant to complete the path to the the splash pad. That would be sufficient to finish the splash pad and surrounding, so we can do a path. Unfortunately, my mock-up of the park did not make the report. Yeah, it was, and unfortunately, I did provide it in the email, I think, that I sent a couple of members of council, but it didn't make it here, and I was looking for a rough copy. So I don't worry about the $5,000. I mean, council shouldn't either. The path, we have sufficient funding, but I'm still asking the case for, I'm asking for more and more, so we can do maybe repair the path in the middle that has subsided because of vehicle use.
Yeah.
So if we do get this funding from the case, we'll be able to repair that section of the path between the two ball fields. Because I do have sufficient money to go around the splash pad and we'll connect to the gazebo. So again, I'm just trying to get, I'm asking,
Yeah,
because
because
they're willing to fund, it just, I don't know if it's gonna be 5,000 or 20,000, so I did ask for 20.
yeah.
So it's, yes, it was not funding, but because they haven't committed, I can't say they will be donating. I just say they are considering at this point. And again, the grant 40 singer, so yes, we are short. So the issue is, if you do approve the Cororda, I will say to council, we will have spent out the grant, but I'm short $15,000. Even if we get in-kind or maybe donated materials, we won't be at zero. I doubt, unless we find a benefactor somewhere that says, hey, I got a concrete crew and I got some spare concrete. The odds of that happening, not. So if we do consider the Cororda gazebo, the construction would be completed in the spring. Maybe we can try it now, because I doubt we will get an answer from the case before the winter sets in. And if we do, quite right, it would have to be a consideration for next year, because we could put up the gazebo on sonotubes, probably fairly cheap, but then we would be stuck on, what's
Crusher dust.
the little gravel, the crusher dust, which nobody wants crusher dust. You want a nice concrete flat with the path up to it. Like I said, there's money for the path, but the concrete pad, and that's the question, is, as a member of the public commented correctly, yes, it is if you pick the nice gazebo, we're that short. Barring somehow a plan being donated by an architect or a drawing somewhere, but we really need more resources at this point to do that, because to go knocking, I know the director of operation reached out to a few of the past contacts she had with her previous employment, and I reached out to one that built the school, and they came back, yeah, we have a plan here, completed, finished, you can build as is, and they're saying, yeah, you can send the retainer for our services, and we're starting at $7,000 to get the plan. It's ready-made. There was nothing to change.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, it's like 7,000 just puts out of the ballpark. It's like, and I think the Cororda, they're, and I already, because the CBO, he says that's what you need in a public space. You need, they will size it for the public, the snow load for our area. She said, check box number 1. Amazon gazebos with the little small print that you must remove snow in winter from the roof,
Okay.
is not an acceptable, in terms of CBO, is that this is not for a public space.
Okay.
It's the unfortunate part, because you have a $10,000 gazebo that is, I'll say, much different than this one, but in principle, it's the same thing. 4 posts and a roof.
All right. So now essentially what the question is, do we proceed with the gazebo, or do we want to go with the tent, which is quite a cost savings, but also looks like a tent. So that, but you're saying that if we decide to go with the gazebo, with the grant, keeping in mind that you said we already have maybe enough for a section of the
The path. Okay,
but
so just to let council know, when we built the splash pad, part of the construction of the splash included preparation of the ground. So making it accessible, which means a path of 5 feet to the splash pad, is part of the grant. I have a total of approximate amount $16,000 left to spend. I cannot spend it on benches, we've asked, unless we bolt it down to the concrete pad and says, yeah, it's still movable. It has to be a capital structure in place.
Okay.
But I have $16,000, and I'm, if I can fix the path, I'm trying to fix the path in the middle, because
Okay.
that's too far away from
the splash pad.
splash pad. If I take the splash pad, do a path around the splash pad, which will go right by a certain gazebo, we will have our path, and potentially a future play structure in the back. I like, it's in the books, that is, we can spend, and that's
I have a question.
60%, 62% funded that one.
Because of the construction that's taking place right now as we speak, the large vehicles are frequently into the the community center's parking area, especially on this side of the
Pavement.
parking area. The pavement is being, like, they're heavy trucks, is being maybe damaged. I haven't like taken pictures before and after and whatnot, but are they going to be repairing any damages
I
made?
was not aware, we will stop it right away, and if they wanna continue to use it, it'll be on one condition.
Yeah, they gotta repair,
Neil,
yeah. Because, like past today, maybe they're not gonna use it as much because it's just the fact that they were cutting in front of
I've been trying to avoid that area because I don't wanna create extra traffic there in
Yeah.
that section, but yeah, no, I was not aware of that.
Okay, so I was wondering if that would take care of part of it, but anyhow.
Just to add, I know parking will be an issue there, for the splash pad and potentially the path. We're looking at options that I hope to convince a certain director of operations. They're trying to clear out the lot in front of the garage. For operations sake, like, we need the entire lot. But we're gonna see how far back the lot goes, and maybe once or twice a year, we can dedicate the front yard as like rope off the gravel or whatever's parked in the yard, store it towards the back. But we have to see how big the yard is, so
Mhm.
unfortunately, I don't have that answer,
No.
because they cleared off the lot, and they said, well, you see all those big red pines that are there, it's all on municipal property. So we can go back twice the distance they cleared. So we're gonna try to find a solution, because parking is also roundabout because of the path here, and if we're building a path, we don't want it used as a parking lot or as a driveway.
Yeah, no. All right, questions?
I didn't get all the information through email, so I'd like to hear from Councillor LaChance and Councillor Quetzey, because I think they've been putting a lot of time in this department, so I have
Okay.
nothing to say until I hear from them.
Okay, Council Loftus?
Okay, yeah, I would have liked to see the information myself. But is there any way that we can just purchase the gazebo, like the wooden one, the wooden structure? Could we not purchase it this year? And just put it aside? Because for that price, it's gonna go up next year. Lumber and everything's going up, so I'm just wondering, with the 40,000, we have enough to purchase it. And I know you've got tables and garbage bins and all that, you know, there's always grants coming up every year, and I know that we'll be able to make up the difference, but for now, I'm thinking if we could purchase the gazebo for the price we're getting it, store it, and then look at, we're, like you said, we can't put it up now till spring. And even with the gazebo and the price of the concrete pad for the gazebo, you've got 34,000 out of the 40,000, so you would have enough to put the structure up with the concrete and worry about the little, like the garbage bins and everything later with probably another grant. But if we get this locked in, like the gazebo, I really like that gazebo. I don't want a flimsy one like you've got with the canopy, because those canopies, they don't last a couple of years and you gotta replace it. So if you're gonna do it right, but I'm almost positive with the money that you're talking 16,000 for a pathway, we could take a little bit of that, you know what I mean? Like, so we can collaborate the two projects to try to finish both.
Okay.
But I mean, I
The two
know,
projects meaning,
well, like the pathway, like he's saying, he's got
Okay.
16,000 put away for the pathway. But do you really need 16,000 for the pathway? Could you go like 10,000 for the pathway and use a little bit extra? So, but that gazebo at that price is, I like that shelter. It's really, really nice. And I don't want something flimsy. So if we can order this for now, and let's hear what the guys say, but.
okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much. Councilor Petit?
Yeah, I think, sorry, for the most part, it was just mostly like a generated image about the surrounding area, the splash pad. It wasn't anything too extensive, but it was just basically showing a path around the splash pad and stuff like that. It wasn't anything too extensive. But as far as the funding goes for this, and I did bring up, possibly, yes, we want to get a gazebo, we want to get all this stuff in there, but we almost should, like, in the vast property that there is between the splash pad, the ball fields, the park, the potential new park, to replace the old one, and the pickleball court and everything, I think we really need to start looking, or should have looked prior, but we need to have a better understanding of what the long-term plan is, because right now, the long-term plan is whatever is recommended and whatever is discussed by council, that current council, in terms of the plan for that whole area. So I think we need to bring together maybe a professional on this, but also in terms of that could bring a better understanding of what works and what doesn't in terms of the overall project because this isn't going to be, we're not going to get this thing to where we want it to be in 2 or 3 years. This is going to be a ongoing 10-year project, and getting everything up to par. And I'd hate for it to just derail or take a different direction depending on how what direction council takes. So I'm in agreement with getting it purchased, and a lot of the stuff is movable materials. I don't know, has any of it already been spent in terms of tables and garbage bins and stuff like that? Nothing yet, eh? Okay.
I have pricing and it just in the card and
Yeah. So as far as if we wait till completion date, do they need an installed structure, or because that's a concern, right? Do they need project completed?
they need the project, they need it spent out.
Substantial completion, or
I will ask if it's spent out for final completion. They usually are forgiving.
Yeah.
And they will make sure that when they come visit next summer, it will be up.
Yeah,
And just not to take away, just to mention, this grant, like I said, has to be spent out, so it's, the shopping list is there,
Yeah,
and.
you spend till it's
And then
spent.
I can't, unless I could prepay for the concrete and not
Yeah.
buy the tables and chairs. Remember, this is a grant for seniors. The tables that are there were bought for the park. Council can still redirect from the park, but like like the metal structure there, and I think there's a bear-proof garbage bin, they're gonna be moved to, the park next summer. Not to waste them, they were in the splash pad. These will come and replace. And hopefully, so just to say, it's,
yeah,
whatever we shop, we spend, we have to spend 40,000 because it's March 31st,
And then it's,
but nobody is gonna be using the gazebo March 31st.
yeah, but I agree that most likely the concrete would, if we do go concrete, would have to be laid out this year. Cause does it just sit on the concrete, the gazebo, or does it need like piers going into the ground?
So the fun part about this gazebo, it comes with engineered drawings and they will give you options for base. You can
Okay.
have those little piles, or you can dig out 2 feet,
Floating slab.
have a floating slab over top and the gazebo bolted on, which probably in those corners they'll have thicker concrete.
Okay.
They provide the
All right.
plans.
Okay.
That's why,
That's why it's approved.
and we are in October, pouring concrete may not be obvious in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Any,
yeah, no, I'm in agreement with, you know, perhaps next year, 2026 is where we, so depending on the answer we get back, right? If we get an answer back that we need to have substantial project completion by November 30th, and we need to get either screw piles in or something to mount the gazebo, I don't think we'll be getting a concrete pad in this year within budget. I think that's important that we stay within budget. You remove that concrete pad and some drainage and you're there. You know, it's, so, and then we talk to Tice for 2026 for funding for a concrete pad. So it's not, if you have those screw piles in, it's not an issue to be pouring a concrete pad.
And
I
we
don't
would
think after
be
the fact,
within the budget.
yeah.
Maybe a table less.
Or have Public Works move it while they put a pad. I don't know. It's, yeah, it's,
Well,
yeah,
I get looks when I suggest stuff to the public works.
yeah.
It doesn't even go to the guys because anyways.
Yeah. I just,
It
you know,
diverts from their main cause of,
100%. If we need substantial project completion though, we have to get it in. We have to get it in. It is what it is, so,
yeah,
yeah, that's all.
congratulations.
Just a few questions. Like I noticed the labor for the installation is included in the quote at that price. So just one thing. Another thing is the construction material, like, is it have to be out of Douglas fir? Can we not do it out of pine? Because Douglas fir is expensive, like it's very expensive.
I can see,
Just little things like that, because like opportunities for cost savings, I understand that Douglas fir, the benefits of it virtually never rots. But if it's maintained and stained every few years, that pine lasts a long time also, and for way less of an impact.
Or pressure treated.
Yeah. Cause that was a couple little things, yeah, as far as, putting Healy coils and then pouring a slab after, it's not gonna be fun to try to dig where your Healy coils are, we're trying not to knock it over, and then again, if you have to put it up and then take it down again, it doesn't, you're labor twice.
so the
Yeah.
base can be prepared though, like they can dig it out and pour the granular B, and then you put the other quad, but you're sort of defeating the purpose of preparing the base, but.
No, you wouldn't be putting Healy coil if you're pouring a slab, that's what I'm saying.
It just depends on project completion date, or if they're flexible on that, that's all.
If, so the required funding 115,000, so what if, would you be able to remove two, not two tables, but like a couple of items here and there to make up for it? Or at least ease that burden?
The easy answer is, the concrete pad for the gazebo, because I have to spend that out, so
Mm-hmm.
is to prepay prepay that and remove, get it down to two tables rather than four.
Yeah.
One garbage bin rather than
instead of
two.
and
One bench rather than, and then
Yes.
you prepay the concrete pad.
And for your other benches, and you also want to put your other benches and your other table and your other garbage bins, you can put an opportunity out for, hey, we'll put your nameplate on this bench if you buy the bench and donate to park, or, I don't know, something kind of along those lines.
And I could reach out, and again, I could meet up with the committee if councils agree in principle going this direction. I could meet up with the committee to make it quicker. Because I could reach out to the Case Papilai, because he was having meetings, like, I think it was next week. So I'll get an unofficial answer next week, because the unofficial answer, they're paying for the concrete. And we, as long as we're spent out, we can have the inspection July 2026, if there's an inspection. Maybe we can change our decision on how we move forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'd feel better if we weren't signing up for, a deficit on this, like, I don't know, it's a potential deficit, but it's still nice to know for sure where we
course.
stand financially on it before agreeing to spend money.
And again, without having like many hours to spare to find
Work on that,
a gazebo that comes with a structural plan. This one was, it's just because somebody in the region installed one like that, and it was just, hey, have you looked at this? They provide fully engineered plans, so, and I'm sure they're not the only one, there must be multitudes out there, but I just can't take the Amazon or even the Costco one. If you look at Costco, the name that builds the Costco brand is the same one on Amazon, where it says, please rake the snow off the roof. And he said, you just can't have that in a public area.
Okay. So therefore, everybody's in agreement in principle, and that the final go-ahead's gonna be given by the committee?
Yes.
Yeah? Trying to keep it down to the amount in the, between the two
Yes,
grants?
For grants and
For the
budget.
grants, yes.
Okay, all right. So by trimming a few things out, but it would be nice to get the cement pad in this year.
If you don't have the cement pad, why put cement pads? If it's gonna be crusher dust for underneath the gazebo, then you go crusher dust pads. Like, it doesn't make sense to mix two different beads together, like essentially.
And you could put crusher dust and asphalt too.
Yeah.
Because we're preparing a path. I thought of that, but asphalt will only come next summer, because then we're quoting the cost because it's volume cost, like, can
Yeah.
you keep the machine running for another 200 feet, type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. You have good directions, you
Yes,
understand?
and I will rely on the committee members to give the final go-ahead.
All right. Okay, thank you, and I think that's it. Can I have mover in a second to adjourn? Councillor Loftus and Councillor Petsy.
Moved by Councillor Loftus and seconded by Councillor Petier. Be it resolved that the Committee of the Whole of October 1, 2025 be adjourned at 6:59 PM.
All those in favor? Carried. Meeting is adjourned.